guys, it's me, MonsterMatt345 here, and it's been a while as people are just going out and buying our shelves off because they're so scared about this awful... It's just the fact that and as you may notice, two of my teeth are gone. If I've offended anybody recently with anything that I've said online, you know, I am sorry. I'm only a person after all, you know, and like
A man called Robert Tucker had been working in design and manufacturing ever since he had left college. However, because of the inconvenient nature of his work, it meant a very poor lifestyle for him and his fiancée Mary, who he would propose to after just 1 month of meeting her. Robert would frequently buy lottery tickets in the hopes to give him and Mary a better life. Robert would buy upwards of 3,000 lottery tickets in the space of a year. It wouldn't be until 1996 where Robert would get his first big break, when a gaming company would offer him a job in designing and manufacturing their new games console, which would be a competitor to the Sega Dreamcast. Come May 8th, 1998, Robert and Mary would give birth to their first and only child, Matt Tucker. They were so happy. This would be the peak of their lives. Their son would grow up to have dark and twisted views about the world around him. A man who would be accused of having views similar to that of Hitler, Stalin, and Jimmy Savile. A man who would be dubbed Monster Matt by his peers, and eventually by his loved ones. Whilst raising Matt in this upper working class home in the early 2000s, Robert and Mary would notice a strange monotone attitude and lack of liveliness from him. Eventually, their concerns would prove to be justified, as he would not speak his first full sentence until the age of 9. Due to his strange behavior, Robert would start an online journal, documenting the events he and Mary had whilst raising Matt. Although visitors of his journal would speculate that his real intention was to receive advice from parents who had experience in dealing with troubled children. Many saw this as a confused parent looking to attain knowledge about a child he knew nothing about. April 10th, 2007. Whilst Robert and Mary were eating dinner, a strange letter was posed through their door claiming to be the CEO of KFC. The letter explained how they had received over 200 handwritten letters which had been traced back to their address, the vast majority of which called out the ghost of Colonel Sanders, threatening to desecrate his grave and future plans to bomb his fast food locations. Shocked by this, Robert searched Matt's room to find any evidence that it could have been him, but he was thinking and praying that they had got the wrong address somehow. Under Matt's bed, Robert was shocked to find newly written letters that threatened to dig up Sanders' body, dress him in women's clothing, beat him viciously with a used golf club, then urinate in his face. Robert also discovered a dartboard with Sanders' face as the bullseye. After clearing out his room, Robert would also find a plethora of empty Monster Energy cans at the back of Matt's cupboard where his clothes should be. In his journal, Robert wrote, "There were about 30 or 40 of these fizzy drink cans, and some at the back which had been filled to the top with his urine." At the back of the wardrobe, Robert also found a small digital camera, which neither he or Mary had any recollection buying for him. When Robert pressed play to see the first video, it showed Matt standing in the middle of his room, opening a can of Monster and pouring it all down his hair, face, and clothes. He was gargling it, as if it were mouthwash. I was shocked to see him point the camera down and begin urinating into the can. He then started pouring it over his hair and face, just as he did with the soft drink. The second video showed Matt expressing his hate towards the KFC Colonel. He acted as if he were speaking to his ghost, threatening to do things to his grave, which I don't care to mention on my blog post. I was surprised to see Matt using such a good command of English, since he usually only speaks to people in one-word answers, in a very shy tone. The third and final video would see Matt reenacting an argument his parents had a few days prior, with Matt portraying both his mother and father. April 28th, 2007. Robert had organized to have a private phone call with one of Matt's teachers over the summer regarding his behavior in school. She mentioned some weird activities he would engage in, but this was no surprise to Robert. What did surprise him, though, was when the teacher informed him that at school Matt would drink around 6 to 10 cans of Monster Energy every day. Robert would leave lunch money for Matt in a big box where he could take as much change as he needed, so there was no question that he could easily get the money to buy these drinks. It would also explain his tendency to stay awake into the late hours, not to mention his teeth falling out on occasion. Robert would recall an event which readers of his journal would take particular interest in. Matt came home from school today to tell me that he'd been talking to a new boy in class. This was strange to me, as Matt had never attempted to strike up a conversation with me, let alone try to meet new kids at school. This was a special school which Mary and I had made him attend so that we could get a much-needed break from his shenanigans. As the days went on, Matt's friendship with his new chum grew, and it started to look like he had finally started to play a normal role in adolescence. Matt's relationship with his parents also grew stronger, as did his attitude towards life in general. Matt spent many hours playing with his new friend in summer school, like any normal child would. Because of this sudden change of events, readers of Robert's journal would notice that his online activity would decline heavily, proving to them that it was just a way to get advice about his troubled son. After years of Robert worrying in fear, it had started to look like his son would turn out okay. Little did Matt know at the time, but this would be the first and only time he would see adulation in a friend. Unfortunately for him, this new and exciting experience would be short-lived. Join us in Act 2, where we will begin to see Matt's descent into madness.